We're going to continue graphing circles. First thing that we have to do is we have to write our equation in vertex form. Now, remember the circles have to have a positive x squared and y squared. If you're looking right here, we notice that our x squared is negative. So what we want to do is we want to move all the x's to the other side. So I'm going to have x squared plus 2x. Then I keep the y's together, y squared plus 6y. And I'm going to keep the constant value still on the right-hand side. So I'm going to put -1. So now we have everything in the right form. And our next step is we're going to complete the square. So we're going to take our 2 from our x, we're going to divide it by 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to square it. And that gives us a 1. So we have x squared plus 2x plus 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at our y's. I'm going to take my 6 and divide it by 2, and I'm going to square it. And that gives me 9. So what I have is y squared plus 6y plus 9. Now, if you remember, we have the -1. We're going to bring it down. We have the +1 from our x's. And we have the +9 from our y's. We're going to factor. And if we look at our x's, what we have is x plus 1 squared. If we look at our y's, what we have is y plus 3 squared. And if we look at our constant values, it adds up to 9. So that helps us with the center of the circle, which remember is the opposites. So we have -1 and -3. And what we have is our radius. And our radius is the square root of our constant value. So now what we're going to do is we're going to graph our circle. I'm going to go by 2's again. So this is going to be 8 and 8. When I plot the center of my circle, I go to the left 1 and I go down 3. 1, 2. So notice that it's similar to the one right above it because it has the same center. Radius is 3, so I'm going to go 3 in all directions. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And to the best of my ability, I am going to draw a circle. Now, if we're looking at letter D, what we notice is that we have a -3 and a -3 in front of the x squared and the y squared. So we need to get rid of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide everything by -3. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange them in the order that makes it best for completing the square. So I'm going to put my x squared first. Then I'm going to put my x. So that's a -10x. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my y squared and my y. And I'm going to set that equal to my constant value, which is -28. So now I'm going to complete the square. If I'm looking at my x's, I'm going to take my -10, I'm going to divide it by 2, and I'm going to square it. -10 divided by 2 is -5, squared is 25. So I have x squared minus 10x plus 25. If I'm looking at my y's, I'm going to take my -4, I'm going to divide it by 2, and I'm going to square it. So I have y squared minus 4y plus 4. equals, I'm going to take my 25, sorry, I'm going to bring down my negative 28. I'm going to take my 25, and I'm going to take my 4. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor. That gives me x minus 5 squared. Take my y's and factor. Y minus 2 squared. And then I'm going to add all my constant values. This right here is 29. 29 minus 28 gives me a 1. So now I have my center of my circle, which is 5, and 2. And my radius is always the square root of my constant, which is 1. Because my radius is so small, I'm going to go by ones. And I'm going to make my coordinate a little bit focused on the first quadrant. So I'm going to go to the right 5, and I'm going to go up 2. And since my radius is 1 in all the directions from my center, I'm going to go up 1, left 1, down 1, right 1. And that right there is how I graph my circle.